So it's the time for the panel discussion on the subject of effect of Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So before calling all the dignitaries on the panel, including our moderator, we'd like to talk about them one by one. So on this panel discussion, the moderator is Shri Sandeep Sengupta. So I'd like to say something about Sandeep sir. Shri Sandeep Sengupta is a director at Indian School of Anti-Hacking. He is a lead auditor for information security, data protection, and privacy. A certified ethical hacker and CISO, working over the last 24 years in information security industry in New Zealand, Singapore, and India. He is an associate with West Bengal Government Cyber Security Center of Application. So I'd like to welcome him on this dais, and I want all of you to give a huge round of applause for Shri Sandeep Sengupta. Thank you so much, sir, and we are delighted that you are giving your valuable time on this great extravaganza. Next, I'd like to say something about Shri Prashun Banerjee, our first panelist. He is a head of legal for Vision RX Lab Private Limited. He is a corporate lawyer with a rich experience of 22 years of having worked in diverse industries like manufacturing, retail estate, etc. Currently, he takes care of corporate government, legal risk mitigation, development of plans and policies, legal and statutory complaints, litigation management, and overall strategic management on critical issues. So I want him on this dais. So please come on the dais and take your chair. And I'd like to request each and everyone kindly give a huge round of applause for Shri Prashun Banerjee. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I'd like to say something about Dr. Pallav Ganguly. He is one of our panelists. He is an electronics and telecom engineer with AIMTech and PhD from Jadavpur University. Mr. Pallav Ganguly is an expert in telecommunications, computer networks, information security, cyber forensic, IT security, and audit complaints. He is a researcher on the smart grid, IoT security issues, etc. He is working with the big power utility CSC for last 23 years in the field of IT infrastructure. He was the past industry coordinator of IEEE region team. Presently, he is an immediate past chairman of IEEE COMSOC Kolkata chapter. So I want him on the dais. So please take your chair on the dais and kindly give a huge round of applause for Dr. Pallav Ganguly. Thank you so much, sir. Now let's talk about Mr. Saurav Das. He is an ex-student of Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and the Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, and has about a couple of decades of experience in various global MNCs and Indian manufacturers, including Reliance Industries Limited, Linde Group, PricewaterhouseCoopers, IBM Global Services, Atos Origin, ITC Infotech, ISA Group, and presently the Aditya Birla Group, a leading diversified of 60 billion Indian manufacturer with business footprints in over 35 countries. Currently, Mr. Das is a chief of digital and IT in Rupa Group as the CDIO for iron ore mining and contract coal mining and ferroalloys manufacturing business since December 2015. So I want him on the dais and kindly give a huge round of applause for our very, very important panelist, Mr. Saurav Das. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. Let's talk about Mr. Prakash Sharma, an Indian Air Force veteran and well-seasoned senior-level ICT administrator with 30 years of experience in planning, coordinating, implementing, and evaluating the effectiveness of system infrastructure, accomplishing department projects and objectiveness. This is instrumental in keeping the Credent Group a notch above the rest in a such of competitive sector that doesn't stand still for even a microsecond. So I want him on the dais, so kindly give a huge round of applause for Mr. Prakash Sharma. Thank you so much, sir. Now let's talk about Sri Sangram Patnaik. He is an IT head with 25 years of experience in leading enterprise through rapidly changing information technology landscape. Seasoned builder of exceptional IT management with experience in both IT as well as manufacturing companies. Subject matter expert, business-driven IT analyst, and supporting the technology to drive the business. So I want him, Sri Sangram Patnaik, on the dais, and especially currently he is a Assistant Vice President right now of Indorama India Private Limited. So please come on the stage and take your chair on the dais and kindly give a huge round of applause for sir. Now I'd like to hand over to our honorable moderator, Sri Sandeep Sengupta, for the panel discussion on the subject of effect of Data Privacy and Protection Act 2023. Sir, it's over to you now.
A very good evening to all of you who are present over here, and good evening to my colleagues on stage. This is a very interesting topic. We are coming to this Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. A lot of activities are going on. Now, this is not something very new into this corporate world. I remember I have been auditing. I'm a privacy, data protection and privacy auditor, and I have been doing this for quite a long time, many years. I think back in 2015, around 15 or 14, I was auditing Vodafone. Before this DPDP, we call it DPDP in short at this moment, which is now for India. Before this DPDP, there was GDPR. That was for Europe. So companies who had clients in Europe or dealing with, having some business in Europe, they already were compliant to the GDPR. Before GDPR came into the picture in 2018, there was something called PIMS, P-I-M-S. PIMS was there for almost last 10 years, more than that. And there, a lot of companies were getting audited because they wanted to know whether the data protection privacy is, they are maintaining it properly. Now, just to give some understanding, since I am into this ethical hacking field for the last 24 years, and we were only focused on security. Security, the data, if you can secure for certain, it doesn't get breached or leaked, then you are successful. So what is the difference between data security and data protection and privacy? We have to be very careful because this will be a game changer. Some people will spend a lot of money and some people will earn a lot of money. I went to a company, I believe this was in 2017. It's a 2 lakh crore company. I went as an auditor. And when I went for audit, I was talking to the top management, the CEO of the company. So I told him that what is your protection against this data breach or hacking? And you know, the CEO of the company, I will not tell you the name of the company because you can understand a 2 lakh crore company, everybody knows the name. The CEO told me, hacking तो सबका होता है, नासा का भी हुआ है, तो मुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है, जब हैकिंग होगा तो देखा जाएगा, बैकअप है मेरे लिए, मैं लगा दूंगा बैकअप. I need to invest on backup. Now, at that time, we didn't have any answer. But once this DPDP will come into the picture, there will be a huge penalty on that person because data privacy is a concern. I'll give you some more examples, like how these things will change the entire landscape. One of the hospitals in Calcutta, a very big hospital, I'm doing consultancy over there. They are taking a new hospital management system. So as a consultant, I was negotiating with their vendor. So I told them, this DPDP, this will change over time. Government will change the policy, they will bring new bills. Can you mention one clause in that contract that if this particular hospital management system has to be compatible with whatever change the government brings? Otherwise, if you do not write this clause in the contract, the moment the policy change, government comes with a new regulation, the vendor will come and tell you, you have to do this, and that is additional cost. So if you have not thought about it right at this moment, if you do not mention this in your contract, you will get bankrupted because government will change policy, you have to comply, vendor will earn money, they will say this is an additional change. So why don't you write this in the contract? And the vendor agreed to that. So it is not just how you can secure the data. In this particular DPDP, it talks about if you have taken the data, not all data, only some data which can identify a human being. That means a PII, personally identifiable information. That means your name, your mobile number, your address, your Aadhaar card, your background verification information, your biometric, your medical records. You have to take a consent from that person. While you take the consent, you have to mention the purpose why you are taking it. You have to tell for how long you are taking it, and if that purpose is not there, you have to dispose that data. So you also need to be careful how you dispose that data. This is beyond security. That is something addition to the security. Now think of it. You have given a promise to a person that I will delete your data when you are not in the company, or I am not in business with you. And then you go into a litigation. As per law of the land, you have to the data till the court case is over. Now, if you do not have mentioned this in the contract, you will get into a trouble. Number 3, the HR department is taking interview. While you are taking interview, there are 100 candidates coming, only 2 candidates are selected, 98 have been rejected. If you are not taking a consent that I will keep your CV for 1 year, you will get into a trouble as per the DPDP. When I go into a big 4 company for audit, I told them, are you taking this consent from the people who are sending you the CV? If not, this person will say, you have not taken me, why you are keeping my CV? It's a violation of the DPDP or the GDPR. So your contracts, your policies, the way you save the data, how you collect the PII, everything will change, and it's a major change. Companies will have a tough time. So what I will do over here, since I am the moderator, I will ask them how they are solving the problem so that you can take away something to your company from their experience and knowledge, which actually can help you to face the problems which you might have thought or you might not have thought already. So I will start with Mr. Prashun Banerjee. So coming to DPDP, though I have given a small introduction, since you are a lawyer and
Yes.
DPDP is more about law and IT combined, it's not just an IT.
Yes.
From the lawyer's point of view, can you just give us some idea what are the challenges the companies are facing at this moment?
See, from legal point of view, the major challenge that DPDP will bring in every working environment is all about the awareness and right kind of awareness. So long we have been, basically we are a lens manufacturer, ophthalmic lens manufacturer we do in our company. So we have export large quantity of business with Europe. So we have been dealing this GDPR for quite a long time. So many of our export channel employees were seasoned to this particular data protection thing. But that was not a codified law in India till that time. So now in 2023, when this bill actually get transformed into an act, that is Digital Personal Data Protection Act. So the main challenge that we are facing at this moment in India is to create awareness and to make people understand how to deal with the data and how to keep it, how to place it, how to destroy it, how to take consent, and how to channelize. So this entire sensitization requires some time, and it requires a meticulous exercise to be given to each and every employee who are actually dealing with personal data of a person. So as I told you that we are a bulk manufacturer of ophthalmic lenses, so many a times what happens is we get data from our customers in respect of a particular person who is having some power in left eye and some power in right eye. So if you are only capturing the data of a person's name with his 2-eye power prescription, then it is not a personal data. Because my name is Prashun Banerjee. There could be 10,000 other Prashun Banerjees living in this country at this moment. And they can have the similar eye figure or different, eye numbers for that matter. So it is not a personal data. So differentiating from personal data and useful data of a person, that is the first thing to be filtered. And thereafter, if you are definitely capturing the person's name with his address, it becomes a personal data. So with that address, you can touch that particular individual from any point of the world. If you are capturing his phone number, if you are capturing his email ID. So these are the basic factors. So mainly I will tell that from legal point of view, we had to do a lot of coordination with our IT department and make the people aware about the implications of GDPR, thereafter the DPDP, and now since if you go to the authorities and if you are being implicated legally, then the consequences are huge. So most of the cases, I have faced a few cases in our group companies, and there we have done a mitigation and there we have done some reconciliation out of court. So probably that is the best way out as of now for the time being. Still, when in country like India, 130 crore of population, many of them are not even aware of their own rights. So that is definitely a thing that we are encashing at the moment, but people are getting aware, and these things will be having multi-level implications in days to come.
Great. Coming to Dr. Ganguly.
Yeah.
You are from CAC, people who handle a lot of KYC. Though you are not directly doing it, but your company is doing it.
Power utility, right.
Right. So how do you identify, like in this DPDP, I believe the first step is to know what PII you are handling
Exactly.
before I can take any further steps. So to the companies out here, I believe you are the person who has the maximum KYC for Calcutta.
Right.
Everybody has to have a KYC with you, otherwise they get the darkness at home.
Actually, 32, 33 million customers.
Great.
In this city of Kolkata and Howrah. And also managing the CISO role is a challenge. And in today's world, Sandeep has done ISO audit in our organization, and he knows that there are so many rules and regulations. We are perturbed, and the CA guideline, the NCIPC directives, and also the power utilities nowadays are critical information infrastructure, and it's a mandate from the MOP. So we have to declare the CII and also the CCMP, and it is to be vetted by Ministry of Electronics and IT. Now, in DPDP, 23 years back, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, we had IT Act 2000. With that, we had SPDI, that is sensitive personal data or information. It was rules at that point of time, guidelines. And now 50% of it has come as an act after 23 years as DPDP. So we are not new to DPDP, okay? And if you see the other standards and guidelines, you will see that DPDP has also run a cat and mouse game. Who is the data fiduciary and who is the data principal? That is the main game changer. In some cases, the power utility becomes a fiduciary and the data principal is our customer, as Sandeep correctly said, maintaining the KYC of so many customers. At the same time, the government becomes the data fiduciary and the utility becomes the data principal in case of giving the direct information of the CISOs, CIOs to the Ministry of Power. At the same time, maintaining the KYC of all the customers, and as per you know that the CA guidelines, no data should go outside the country, be it the data of the customer information system, that the billing system we are maintaining. Apart from that, the metering part, your locational database of the customers, there also comes under the DPDP Act. And as Prasun correctly said, that huge, enormous fine is there, but you have to see where it is applicable. This is the main point.
So most of the time when we go for consultancy on DPDP,
Right.
we face the biggest challenge. Company doesn't even know how much PII they are handling, how they are keeping it, and that realization is not there.
Exactly.
So a company as vast as yours and
Right.
having the maximum PII in Calcutta, how you are identifying the PII? So I am asking you this question because everybody will face the same problem. And what solution do you offer to them?
Yeah. Now you see, when you are seeing your customers, if you are a utility, from utilities perspective, I am saying that if I am a power utility, I am giving you power. At that point of time, my customers are there, the customer information system is there, as far as CRM is concerned. At the same time, my vendors and the OEMs are there with respect to information and communication technology and operational technology. Also, the employees, the HR system is involved, the HRMS is involved whenever the employees are concerned. These are all the PIIs I'm just sharing with you. Also the metering data, the meter data management system, we are maintaining. The KYCs and the meter data management system also comes under the ambit of PII. Again, last but not the least, the most important PII is your contractor, your staffs, who are not directly engaged with you in your payroll, but are outsourced employees. You are having a police verification, you are doing many things, but those information, their locational database are also important. And they are also human beings, they have also the right to participate in DPD.
Great, excellent. So I believe a lot of points he has mentioned, you can note it down because these are the things your company owners will ask you when you go back and you will be facing it by December. DPDP will be enforced by this December and that will be a massive task for you people if you have not already started planning for it. Great. Coming to Mr. Saurav Das. IIT and IM, both a geek and a management. Great. So I would like to ask you, what is the role of CIO or CISO in implementation of DPDP in any company?
Thanks, Sandeep. So before I answer that question, let me take a minute because I think my introduction had a little bit of semantic error. So I'm currently working as the Group Chief of Digital and IT at Rupa. And earlier I was with the Aditya Birla Group, mining business. And the description, I think, came off my previous job. So I take the apologies for that. Maybe I had given the wrong information. That's why the goof up. So I think the biggest challenge currently facing, the role that the CIO or the CISO has to do is, I think, the change management. DPDP comes with a 250 crores fine. 250 crores. So if you are talking about a small and medium enterprise, I think for many enterprise, that is kind of a half a year's profit, right? You heard it right, 250 crores. Sandeep can vouch for it. He's a professional in this. There are some sections. I'm not saying for all the sections. There's 150 crore, 200 crore, 250 crore. There are some sections which even can cost you 10,000. So against that backdrop, now it calls for extreme level of discipline. Number one, you have to take consent. Number two, you have to get the data off when you are not using it. Now, consent is one part. Okay, I'm asking for KYC, I'm asking for this, I'm asking for that, I take the consent. But when I'm not using it, see, when I'm taking a new employee, I take all the data and then I put it nicely and I take all the care. When the employee is leaving, I might not be taking all the care. This is common human psychology, right? And there lies the challenge because, as I said, on the other side, 250 crores is hanging. Secondly, let's say I take an employee's data, I pass it on to my payroll agency, that you process the payroll. If there is a data breach at the payroll agency's standpoint, the payroll agency is not fined. Who is fined? I am fined. My organization is fined. So for a payroll agency who does that work for me, maybe for a few lakhs a month or even less than that, I stand a risk of 250 crores. That is the meaning of DPDP. And the most important part, I think, right now is that all that we are talking about, I think there are people from various disciplines here, like we have a lawyer here. Don't take me otherwise, but I think the buzz that is going around in the IT fraternity, maybe that kind of buzz is not going around, let's say in the legal or HR or secretarial or other fraternities, because many of us in our organizations face this problem that we have to tell people. And they will have answers like, no, I am not doing business in US or with Europe. I don't need to be concerned. What you are talking about is more like GDPR. No, this is India. This is the Indian DPDP, which is now an act. And we have to tell them that this is what needs to be done. So therefore, what we are doing is we have formed a cross-functional team consisting of IT people. So obviously there is a role of IT because there is data. And data, that word, I think, is the most used and abused word of this century. And people by default think that anything that is, there is a word called digital is to do with IT. So obviously IT is important. We need a DLP and other things, from the technical side of things. Second, if you look at the data, like Pallav also mentioned, broadly speaking, we are talking about employees, we are talking about customers, we are talking about vendors. And then contractors and other people come in. So obviously, HR, procurement, and sales, these three also come in. Obviously, there is a secretarial aspect to it, and obviously, there is a legal aspect to it. So all these functions come together, so we form a cross-functional team, and together that team takes the way forward. Now, how we clean that data, how we sanitize that data, and going forward, let's say we want to do ISO certification of 27700, that's the next step. So this is where we stand.
Great, thank you. Coming to Mr. Prakash Sharma. So I would like to know from you, because Most of the people out here are IT people. How do you think this DPDP will impact your IT budget, and where exactly it will impact?
It's a good opportunity to all CIOs and CISOs sitting over here to talk to their management. So one of the best, we have always been loggerheads with our CFOs about the budget. Go and tell your management, if the fine is at least of 200 crores, give me some 50 crore to improve our IT sector. I take it as an opportunity. And I have already told my management that this is what being implemented. So if you don't improve your security, don't strengthen your security, don't implement these types of procedures and process, then be ready for the penalties. Jokes apart. Budget, definitely, there will be a huge impact on the budgets. We need to create data capturing managements. We need to create processes and systems and strengthen our security. As everybody told, the PII, in my language, is a hardcore terrorist, and we need to strengthen our security to protect this data from breaching and whatever the hackers want from us.
Great, excellent. Coming last to Mr. Sangram Patanak. I would like to get some idea, like, what is the plan? How you are implementing DPDP? Have you started the work? Are you late into the bus, or you are already have taken some proactive action? How should a company approach?
So actually this DPDP Act formalized just few days back, but it's there in the discussion earlier also. So actually during our 2022 ITGC audit, which was getting done by Deloitte, they came up with all these points. So we are in the process of implementing a standardized ERP. Earlier actually we are on SAP platform, but our group was thinking of implementing it across the globe for our fertilizer division. So we are thinking about SAP and as well as the Oracle Fusion at that time. So we had a discussion considering this aspect. We had a discussion with SAP India and Oracle India also. So the concern was, suppose we'll be having a data center in India. So, or suppose, because we, Indorama have two legal entity, one is ventures, one is corporation. Ventures is having 84 manufacturing unit across 32 countries. So they have gone for SAP and they have their data center in California. But they have some 5 manufacturing unit in India and it's spread across Asia also. So considering that in details from Deloitte, we had discussed with Oracle India and SAP India also, the consent to have a data center outside India, so that business data will not be, this DPDP compliance will not be fulfilled. So they also said that we cannot, in this case, we will not advise you to have a single instance database. So considering this particular aspect, you should have your database, this SAP database or Oracle Fusion database in India itself. That's why we have gone for this Azure Pune data center. So considering actually we are supposed to roll this particular SAP in next phase, we are doing the rollout in Russia, Uzbekistan and Georgia. Currently in Russia, Uzbekistan, Georgia, this kind of rules are not there. It's there in Europe, but it's not there in Russia. So considering that particular aspect, we have decided to go for the India data center. And secondly, they had also highlighted that this kind of consent you need to take for the personal information regarding your stakeholders such as employee, your supplier and your dealers. We are doing only B2B business, so our customer is our dealers. and our the contractual employee. So last year we had developed supplier onboarding portal, customer onboarding portal, and employee onboarding portal. In those onboarding portal, we have taken consent for using their various data information such as their GSTN certificate, their bank details, because those things are very critical, and getting those details that can be misutilized by some other agency also. So we have taken their consent that we will be using this only for our transaction and will not disclose this information to any other entities. So those things we have taken care. But still then I would like to say that still for most of the big four also, considering we are doing the Deloitte is our internal auditor, E&Y is our statutory auditor. So those big four company, the audit firm is also not very clear about this DPDP Act. This is a newborn baby, and what kind of behavior this will have in future, nobody knows.
Right.
So the consequence of various action actually, and second thing is that whenever this kind of rules are coming, definitely it's maybe related to legal and other function. But as a IT, actually you need to provide all kind of statutory, you need to fulfill all kind of statutory requirement. Whereas other panelists said that then DLP and other thing will coming into picture. So for that reason, we had also gone for actually implementing Intune and the other DLP 10 micro DLP product, the data prevention. Okay. As sir said that.
So I believe what you were saying, that start with a gap assessment.
Yeah, that gap assessment.
So that is exactly what all of us are doing, even when we go for consultancy or audit. We go for gap assessment because that is what you can present to the top management, that this is what is needed and this is where we stand. Otherwise, if you don't show the gap assessment report to the top management, you will never get the budget sanctioned. So that is, I believe, most important what you have just mentioned.
That is most important, and that need to be done through expertise
right.
in hand actually. So
right.
Actually,
but I believe just don't mention big four because there are also made in India companies are also.
No, we are not.
Otherwise, we people will not survive.
Because we are also doing getting the IT infrastructure audit done through.
By
India
the way,
companies.
I also audit big four companies.
No problem with that.
Okay.
We are also welcome because I had also already spoken to you regarding our audit.
Sure. So I have a question for the audience before I come to again back to the panelists. Do you know there is a ISO standard which is aligned to this DPDP? Anyone from the audience who can mention which standard is that? Not from the stage. Which ISO standard? Because you have heard about ISO 9001, ISO 27001. Which ISO standards is aligned to the DPDP? Because many companies are getting their company audited externally for this ISO standard just to get an idea that they are compatible to DPDP or they are compliant to DPDP. Anyone in the audience? No? That's correct. 27701, you can note it down. ISO 27701, this ISO standard is mapped with DPDP. So if you already are ISO 9001 or ISO 27001 certified, please ask your certification body to add 27701 into the picture. Previously it was BS 10012. So ISO 27701 is the standard that you need to really focus. You can download a version of the standard and look into it, and you will see it is helping you in this DPDP. I don't know what price is for him, but that's a correct answer. What's your name, sir? Shubhrata. Coming back to my panelists, the last question, common question to all of you, right? What challenges your company is facing while implementing DPDP? Starting with this side, and maybe we can go. Or maybe if the microphone is on that side, we can start from there.
Once it is that gap study will be done thoroughly, then we'll be in a position to actually evaluate what kind
तो
of.
अभी तक मार्कशीट नहीं मिला तो कितना पढ़ाई करना पड़ेगा मालूम नहीं है.
पढ़ाई स्टार्ट किए हैं, बट एज द कोर्स आर नॉट डिक्लेयर्ड येट.
Syllabus clear नहीं है.
सिलेबस ही अभी डिक्लेयर्ड नहीं है. So
सिलेबस तक डिक्लेयर्ड हो गया.
but it's not.
सजेशन पेपर डिक्लेयर्ड नहीं है.
Yeah, but it's that criteria is not clear to us also.
Right,
it
right.
need
So
to-
domains are different.
Yeah,
Very important.
It need to come from a, as I said, that
Correct.
somebody need to guide you also.
Correct, correct.
So once that guidance will come, then only you will be in a position to actually evaluate it. What
Right,
kind of change management required, what kind of technology you need to adopt to cater those requirements.
Right, right. Sir.
So basically we are into the finance market, and in finance market we used to gather data of our clients based on the rules which has been suggested by the SEBI, which comes under Ministry of Finance. So today morning only we received huge guidelines from the SEBI, how we will be going for the DPDP. They have done their internal assessment, how much cyber resilient you are and what we need to do. We have already in touch with our legal consultants. So my idea is that first the legal consultant gives us a framework, what is important, what is not important. And accordingly, the technical team, the IT team comes into the picture, implement those rules and regulations, and again give this back to the legal team. If anything's happened, you handle in the court of law, that is your look. So this is what we have planned, and just we are working with our legal consultant, let them make a framework, and accordingly we will implement those rules and regulations and process and systems in our across the organization. Accordingly, we will act.
Great. Mr. Das, you must have already done something in the company.
So I think when you asked which section of ISO, only Subroto could answer. So that means they're not listening to us, because I mentioned that ISO 27701.
Great.
Right. So coming to the question, I think with DPDP, the market is still very nascent. People have, kind of quote unquote, have still not waken up to it, right? Still people think that, it's just got passed, there is yet to be an instance where a company is fined in crores due to data privacy. I mean, however bad it sounds, but that's the, blatant fact. Somewhere someone gets fined, then other people will pull up that, okay, this is something serious, I need to take cognizance of it. So I think still right now we are in a very nascent stage. Whether it's a IT thing or a legal thing, or somebody else needs to take care, so I think still that things are yet to be figured out. Yes, some companies are definitely doing gap assessment, just to be ahead of the curve, and there are very important things coming out. But that change management is not easy. What's coming out of gap assessment, and I think that story will be similar across a lot of organizations. I mean, payroll takes data and processes it. That's what has been going on for ages. Now suddenly you say that no, when somebody resigns or moves out, you have to, take that data out. Managing that huge amount of data, cleaning it and ensuring those protocols, it's not going to be an easy task. And going forward, because of DPDP, there will be a sudden surge in the market, let's say with DLP. Companies are going to mint money, some companies, right? And we are just waiting for that. There will be people who will mint money on doing this kind of assessments, consulting, and with the ISO 27701. So that's yet to come. Maybe what we are talking today is just about 6 months away, but we are just waiting for that.
Great. That's a very good answer. Yes, you have the maximum number of PIL. So how are you ready?
Well, I tell you something, when GDPR came, and since I'm also connected with the IEEE Smart Grid, and IEEE being a senior member, and whenever we have seen from the IEEE's point of view, because IEEE is married with many entities, NIST, NARC, SAP, they are married with European Union also. So when GDPR came, we came to know that we have to take some baby steps as far as utilities are concerned. Because in UK, Bristol, we know there were cyber attacks. They adopted GDPR, so how they started. So we have started our baby steps in our company, in our power utility, with a data privacy agreement. How? Because we have learned from ISO 27001 that India has to be signed. When GDPR came, we took a decision that we will also get our customers, vendors, this DPA signed. Okay, data privacy agreement. This is point number one. Point number two, we know that our industry, corporate industry, encompasses people, process, and technology. But DPDP deals with mainly with people, not with process and technology. They are the support functions. But people is the most important key. So we are going to set up a cross-functional team, including HR functions, including customer relations, including vendors management from the materials department, IT, the top leadership team, and set up the data privacy governance framework. And for that, as Sandeep correctly said, we have to adopt ISO 27701 assessment. But before that, the governance framework is very much important, and also the data privacy agreement. So these are the baby steps we are taking from our end.
Coming to you, sir.
We being a part of SLR Luxottica Group, this is a European-based company. The SLR comes from Paris, France, and the Luxottica is an Italian company. Now these two companies have very recently merged into one entity, that is SLR Luxottica. And VisionRx is the Indian counterpart of them, SLR Luxottica Group in India. And we are one of the largest lens manufacturer and exporter in Asia. So what happened when GDPR came, the European entities and our parent company were all along very much aware about it. And they have also sent us the guidelines to implement in India as well. However, that point in time, DPDP was not existing, and it was not a act which was having cognizance on our acts and deeds in India. But in 2023, when this bill has become an act, so the main challenging part that we have faced in our Indian company to implement these certain rules and regulations that were pre-existing in our group, or I'll say in the parent company, the issue was to make proper policies and implement them and create awareness. So the process and stages, we know that there has to be a data privacy agreement, there has to be a consent to be taken. These all stages were known to us, but we were in a fix how to make proper policies, because the first part where any company will get implicated is to not having a proper policy regarding data privacy. So that is the beginning step. So in order to make a data privacy policy, we had to again create a cross-functional team. So IT was there, HR was there, operations was there, and legal. So we took inputs from all of them and we created a policy. So that policy was the first stepping stone for us, and it took, believe me, it took a lot of time. Because if you want to make things correctly, if you want to put things in places and make the, as the way Sandeep said, that it's very important to foresee things. If you don't foresee, then at certain point in time you are going to get caught, and there will be difficulties, there will be implications which will be, there will be having no access to, I mean, no remedies to that. So while making a policy, it's very important that it needs to be done in a wholesome manner with a 360-degree view, so that you cover as much as aspects of future and days to come. And the way the other panelists have correctly said, that still no example has been created in India. So it's better not to be the first one. So that's most important.
Don't be a pioneer.
Yes.
Okay, I'll open up the session to any question answer that audience wants to ask the esteemed panel. If you have any question like how to implement on something you want to know from the panel, please raise your hand. We can just come with a microphone. Anyone? Yes, I think somebody wants to ask. Can anybody please, sir, you can give it a try. Let's see whether we can hear you. Yes, yes, perfectly fine.
And you are held liable. This question is for Azure, I am not putting the data, I'm not giving the data, I'm putting the data on Azure, on the cloud, and the breach happens at Azure. Who is liable?
Who wants to answer? I think. Please, this is one seat is vacant. Please come.
So your question is you're putting data on Azure and there is a data breach, means there is a loss. Now first of all, as per Microsoft policy, there is 3 stages, okay? Hardware is mine, infrastructure is mine, data security is yours. That's my answer. Now point number 2, we have given all sort of infrastructure securities to you, okay? If you're implementing that security, if you're doing it on-prem, then you have to do it on cloud. People are thinking Azure is the most trusted security company in the world. That's the reason I'll put the data on cloud, I'll open my door. But you both have to sign the DPA. Yeah. Both have to sign the DPA. Yes. So there are many companies who are implementing this security.
Yeah, but you haven't signed the DPA yet with us.
No. Oh, watch. That's the reason. You have to sign the DPA.
That is
as per policy, no.
That is why I asked you.
No. So again, as per policy, if you see the standard, even my distributor is there. There are consumptions. There are at least 11,000 SMB customers in India who are doing consumption at least above $500. At least about in SMB market I'm talking about, okay? And in that, at least there are 5 breaches every month. At least 5 breaches, there is a spike. Maybe $10,000, maybe $25,000, even 100K. Means somewhere 80 lakhs per month. 99% of 100% cases, when you have done the analysis, we have found that no security is being implemented. So if you follow the security policy, there will be no data loss. But again, you have to sign the DPA. Yeah.
I will take over from here. So thank you for the answer.
Sandeep.
Yeah, I already have a microphone.
Can I just add to what he said? So very easy way to answer your question is whosoever has taken the data is responsible. So therefore, if you have taken the data, then you are responsible. Whether you have given it to a processing agency, whether you have stored it on Microsoft's cloud, whether you have put it on a Dell server, doesn't matter. Data is yours. If you have taken my data and taken the consent from me, that means you are responsible. So
I will add 2 lines over here because we go and audit. Read the lines very carefully on the contract. In the contract, if the liability is transferred to the vendor with a penalty clause that they will recover the cost, whatever penalty you are paying, then you are safe. However, if the hardware is not at fault and your configuration is at fault, then you will get into trouble. So when we go for audit, we see 60% of the problem is misconfiguration. You have everything, but it is not properly configured. Or initially configured, but as the days goes, there are new gaps identified, which you are not aware of and you have not configured. So this is the problem that most of the time we see. Anyway, I think we have got a lot of insights and a lot of business will be wiped out if we are not thinking proactively. It's good that this topic Satya has chosen today because some of the people will get very rich because of the DPDP. Some of the people will get bankrupted. Which side you will belong to, which side you want to become a pioneer, that's your choice. But right time to wake up and start getting into action. A big round of applause for all the panelists. because they have given very nice insight which I believe will help you people. And thanks to Satta and team for arranging this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandeep sir. I'd like to request each and everyone, please stay back for a while. And thank you so much for this extremely important discussion for this evening, the effect of Digital Personal Data Protection Act on 2023. Now it's time for the honoring all the panelists and our honorable moderator. And for this purpose, I'd like to call on the stage Mr. Debashish Datta. Debashish sir, please come on the stage and kindly felicitate all our moderator and our panelists. Thank you. Thank you so much, all the panelists and our honorable moderator, for participating in this very, very important panel discussion. Thank you so much.